Hello and welcome to Crowdcast Experiments Session 1. Hi, I'm Elaine Nieberding. Some of you know me as the host of the Holy Shift Show on Google Plus and YouTube, but we are finding new ways to expand our reach and engagement with webcasting and connecting with folks around the world and have meaningful engagement. So today we're going to be doing some experiments with the new app called Crowdcast. On June 23rd, I did a show where we interviewed the developer of Crowdcast, a great young guy named Hossain, and he showed us the features of this great new tool. It's called a Hangout wrapper, but it's actually an engagement tool which is not for exclusive use with Hangouts. It can also be used with live stream and Ustream broadcasts. But before I go any further talking about crowdcasting, I want to introduce and welcome the panel that's gathered with me today to help me do some experiments. And I'm going to start right now with Virginia Parsons. Virginia, unmute and tell us where you're hanging out from.
Hey, Elaine, it's great to be here. I'm hanging out from, at the moment, sunny Reno.
And I want to thank you, Virginia. There's a little bit of echo going on. Don't know what it is. So I'm going to ask everybody all of my panelists to just mute their mics. Anyway, Virginia, I want to thank you for the time that we had yesterday exploring some features of Crowdcast and playing with the unlisted feature. So we actually can have an unlisted program not showing up on G Plus as a public event when we don't want it to. That was fun.
Yes, it was, and you know, that's what this is all about, is we're experimenting and having fun in the process. And yes, we thought we had an unlisted event, but we had some people from the public find out about it and were able to watch our silliness, so that's okay too.
Yeah, so we will be talking about the fix, and I also want to mention that Virginia has a show called the Inspirational Business Women's Show every Monday, and that is a great resource for tips for entrepreneurs and marketers and people wanting to grow their messages in their businesses. And now I'm going to jump on over to Scott Scowcroft. Hey, Scott, I want to thank you so much for being with me. Scott of The Scott Treatment, Scott of Jess and Scott and You, Scott of panelist on the Ray Lunch Bunch every Tuesday. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to learning a lot myself during this Crowdcast HOA. And good afternoon for you, and it's a good morning in sunny Seattle.
So thank you for telling us where you are hanging out from. I'm now going to jump on over to the man from Jupiter. Say hi, Ron Snaberger.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, I'm from Jupiter, Florida, and I'm kind of like the newbie on everything here with doing Hangouts and the Crowdcast, but eventually I'm going to have my own Hangouts, and I figure if I learn now, it's not going to be so hard to learn later, and so I'm going through the hoops with everybody else. Thank you, Elaine.
And the great thing about those of us that have come to know each other on Google+, it really is, I'll call it a egalitarian place to learn things. The arena is so cooperative and collaborative, and a lot of people, I'm happy to say, manage to get their egos out of the way because they're interested in experiencing collaboration, communication, and service that really lifts everybody up. So it's all win-win-win as we go along. Now I'm going to say hi to Molly Youngblood Geiger. Molly.
Hey, Elaine, thanks so much for having me on the show today. I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to our discussion about Crowdcast.
Okay, so just to let you know, when we were chatting yesterday, you mentioned you are not from your cool studio at home, showing all your Google partner and
No, I'm
Google
actually.
starishness stuff, but when I got you up, the screen was actually completely black. Hope a little bit more of you shines on through. Let's try this again. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
Molly.
having some connectivity problems. I'm actually having my camera on, but it's showing my avatar, so I'm not sure what's going on. This is definitely different. But I am on the event, so I am here and present.
Okay, if by some chance you want to, leave and come back in again, because sometimes that magically fixes things, try that. And we do know that you may be talking with us about some of the new developments in Crowdcast and some of the surprises by Cy, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so here we are, and now I really want to welcome all of the folks who heard out about this event from the Google Plus event post that I sent around within the last week or so. And from that place, we invited people to actually then click on the link to register to attend this event in the Crowdcast arena, in the Crowdcast engagement platform. And so at last view over there, I noticed that maybe 21, 22, upwards of 20 people actually made their way over and registered. So I want to say hi to all of you, and if you do have Crowdcast open, please say where you're hanging out from in the comment box that's on the right-hand side of your screen. We will be paying attention to that in a little bit. Either Virginia or Scott, if you manage to have Crowdcast open, maybe you can report some of that to me as my helper. Ron, you mentioned a little earlier you had trouble opening Crowdcast for full viewing within your panel. Is that still the case, Ron?
Now I got the comments on the side from Crowdcast, so I'm seeing what people are saying.
Okay. Well, tell us who is here and saying hello.
Well, we have Roxanne Davenport. We have Andrew Hatchett, Elaine Marsden, Charles Duckley, Stefan Sabladowski, Marcus Dieterle. So we have a good crowd going here. Let me see if I can see who else is here. Well, that's kind of it right now. Oh, it looks like Karen B. Chin is here.
Great.
So everybody's saying good morning. Talking back and forth. Roxanne says, I think the difference is we comment off to the side where the host doesn't have to follow it if they don't want to. The questions are put separately so they won't be missed. So people are seeing some advantages that they didn't have before.
Okay, so thank you, Ron. I'm really glad that you got to acknowledge who is showing up within the Crowdcast platform for us today. And I'm especially happy that, excuse me, I'm especially happy that Marcus Dieterle, who earlier today was having trouble registering, apparently he got through and registered, and now he is with us over here in Crowdcast. Hey, Marcus. I think you're joining us from Germany, so truly we will have a global gathering with this event as well. So what I'm going to do now is, there's my woman Molly. Molly, we did the trick, hopping on out, jumping back in, and it worked. So
Absolutely.
What I would like for you to do, Molly, could you give to the audience a little bit of the developmental history real brief overview of that for people who might be watching that know little about the evolution of Crowdcast. And I'm going to be getting some things ready for my own screen share in a little bit. So take it over, Molly.
Sure. Thanks, Elaine. So about a month and a half ago, I was invited to a Crowdcast event, and when I attended, I was like, this is truly amazing. There were so many different features about Crowdcast that really got me interested, and so I reached out to the developer who started Crowdcast, which is Hossain, and just introduced myself and let him know that I was a developer as well, and that I had had an opportunity to attend one of his Crowdcast events, and I really thought some of the improvements that he had made upon it were just outstanding. For the longest time, I have been using Hangouts, and there are certain features about Hangouts that were very frustrating. Specifically, going back to past events, networking with people, interacting with my audience members, just different facets about Hangouts that seemed very clunky to me. And that was one of the things that Sai had addressed, was the fact that he took certain elements that weren't being used and had made improvements with him and his team of developers. And from that, I actually started talking with him in regards to, why did he decide to do this? What was the catalyst that started him to make these improvements? And he had addressed the same thing that I had mentioned, that it was one of those things that he saw the benefits of Hangouts on there, but he thought, well, why not improve upon that? Why not take some of those fundamental things that Hangouts on there did and make improvements upon it? And so from there, I started, I think it was Robin Holland. She had a question in the Plus Your Business community about Hangouts, and I was like, oh, by the way, you should check out this Crowdcast. And from there, I think she had communicated that to you, and we did, as you mentioned, a show a few weeks back on Crowdcast and some of the benefits that it has. And from there, it really has just taken off. I've actually had an opportunity to introduce this to my manager at the Googleplex. I'm still waiting to hear back from him because it was just as of yesterday that I mentioned it to him. But I'm actually in the process of trying to introduce this product to Google, because I think it's something that Sai and his team of developers have really taken the Hangouts on their platform and arranged it in such a way that it makes it so much easier. And specifically, what I really like about it is there's really two facets I really like. I like the search engine optimization aspect, in the sense that instead of just the event title being indexed, you actually can index the questions and comments, which to me is huge. And secondly, the analytics data, meaning statistics about the users that are attending the event, meaning gender, geolocation, their questions or comments, poll results. To me, for a host to be able to have that type of data is invaluable. And I really am working closely with Sai in regards to the development. He's actually shared a brand new feature that we're going to be revealing later in the event today, that in Hangouts past, people have had to resort to manual types of actions to be able to use this type of technology. So those are just a few of the things that have kind of, I guess, a history, if you will, on where I was at with Crowdcast and where we are today.
Okay, so thank you very much. For those people that have not made their way over to register for Crowdcast, if they're on the G Plus event page, they actually can watch the YouTube version. They'll miss the wrapper effect of the comments and the questioning features, but that is up now. And Virginia, thank you for bringing that for my attention. While Molly was doing her great intro, I was able to make that change.
Elaine, we're getting some good responses here. Elaine Marsden from the UK says, once you find it, it works fine. Marcus Dieterle says it would be nice to be able to resize the comment panel, and I don't have an answer for that. So people seem to be liking it so far.
Great. Thank you for those comments, Ron. I appreciate that a lot. What I would like to do now is I'm going to go into screen share mode, and what I'm actually going to put up on the screen is the Crowdcast panel. And I will be able to show people some of the different features and ways to navigate, you could say, through the anatomy of Crowdcast. And the first thing I'm going to do is going to be aimed at viewers, not as hosts trying to set up events. We might get to some of those functions a little bit later on in the program. So let me go into screen share mode and see if we can get this on up now. Okay, so what I have over here is this shows the video player, which those of you who are watching live, you're actually seeing things going on in this video player. I'm not turning it on, obviously, because then it would create sound and feedback. But up here with my pointer, you can see this is the title of the event. This is the description of the event. It tells when it is. And right here where I'm pointing, this is the URL. And this one URL is the same one which people will both register for the event at, attend the event at live, can go in and engage before the live event happens. They can engage in the comment stream, like over here where I'm pointing at the panel on the right. And they can also use this same link to come back for the replay and watch additional comments afterwards, make additional comments, or perhaps if there are new polls that are added even post the live event, they can participate in those as well. What I would like to do now is let everybody know that I actually did create one poll, and I'm going to click that on. And let's see, this is a poll I put up last night. Let's see if it shows up. I'm going to resize this screen. Maybe a little bit more of this will show up. Let's see. Well, what I would like to invite people to do right now as an experiment, would you click on poll? For all of those of you who are in the Crowdcast arena, click on the link right here called polls and bring it on open for you in the area underneath the video player. I asked people in this poll, what type of device are you watching this Crowdcast Hangout on? And would you indeed, Ron, look in the comments and see if some people are actually able to open the poll?
Nobody has mentioned about opening the polls yet.
Okay, and I will ask all of my panelists, if you have Crowdcast open, are you able to access the poll function from inside the panel? I'm curious about that.
I am not. It says no polls available from speaker.
Okay.
And that's the answer I got from some in the comments.
Okay, I'm going to see if as my, I guess I'm not in here. Let's see if I can go in to edit. Well, anyway, I thought I actually had created a poll, but apparently I didn't save it. So, my bad. But I guess I'll get that together on another occasion. But since I don't have the poll, I would love for my viewers to to answer in the comment stream on the right. Are you using a mobile device or a laptop device or a desktop to engage with us today? I'd be curious to know that. Now I'm going to continue on showing you some of the other features. Once again, if you are here in Crowdcast before the event or during the event or after the event, if you click on a particular person who's here, it actually will take you to their profile. So I clicked on Karen Chin, and let's see if it's going to load her profile. It looks like it's searching for it. It may be with the heavy load that's going on with the use of Hangouts and Crowdcast that this may not be quite as quick or functional as I might have hoped for this demo. So I'm going to click on, oh, here it is. It did show up. So once again, folks, if you want to see the profile or information of some of the folks who are attending, you can do it right from the comment stream. Here you can see, and while this is kind of small, let's see if I can enlarge it. We can actually go see Karen Chin's Google Plus profile right from here. It opens a new window and tab. And here's Karen Chin. We wanted to read about Karen Chin. We could hit the About thing and read her story. Hey Karen, we're glad you're with us today. And now I'm going to head on back, close that out, close that out. Well, let's see where I am. I may have lost what I was doing, so I'm going to stop sharing and bring myself back. Anyway, so that is one of the things that you can do from Crowdcast as an attendee. You can check out all the people who are there. I'm going to open, actually, I think I'm going to pause at this point, and I'm just going to invite some comments from Scott. Scott, if you could unmute yourself, I would appreciate it. And
Sure.
Scott, have you visited a couple Crowdcast events within the last couple days and played around a little bit with the questions and the comment functions?
Yes, I've done a little bit of experimenting with Crowdcast, though I think we're all on somewhat of an original learning curve on it, and some of my initial comments, and they could be way off, or who knows what they'll be like once we really know the platform. One of them is that I think that there's a skill set that's necessary in order to really be able to participate in Hangouts on Air and so forth. And so I think that it will be a while before, for example, the audience gets used to the comments on the one side and the questions underneath. Also, I'm wondering, can we create, who can create polls for a Crowdcast? Is it just the host, or is it the people in the film strip? And can you create it on the fly, say in the middle of a show such as this?
What I understand, Scott, is that the polls can only be created at this point by the host who sets up the event. And at this point, indeed, other panelists on the Hangout do not have access or control to those functions. It will be interesting to see in the evolution of this particular app whether there are functions that are similar to operating a Hangout from a Google Plus page where multiple moderators can handle those hosting functions. That might be really helpful and useful, and I imagine something like that might be down the pike.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to white box myself again because I want to take folks back again through the a little bit more of the landscape of Crowdcast. So everybody who is at our Crowdcast event today got here by registering at the link that we gave you. And once you were there, you had to sign in either from Google+, Facebook, or Twitter. And once you do that, you actually create yourself like a Crowdcast account. For anyone who is here, if you just go to crowdcast.io, www.crowdcast.io, and hit that, and then you'll come to a sign-in screen, you'll be able to look at this thing called My Events, and this panel here will come up. Any of the Crowdcast events that you visited, you can go back to and revisit. So, for example, I visited Roland Takaoka's SMMS Smarties event. I can click on, oh, this is a future event. Ha. Let's see. Here's an event by Melanie Hall that aired just yesterday. Again, by just going to crowdcast.io, again, without having to remember the long URL of the particular event, by just going here and signing in, I can go to my own events and see the ones I have visited and watch them again. It's really easy and convenient to find them. And so these are some of the ones which I have visited before. And then once again now, here is the session that we're doing right now. And I can click on there again. As a Hangout and Crowdcast creator, I go in here to actually do editing. And for example, if I wanted to add something underneath the description, I could add a custom link. And so just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put in my own website, which is www.yeslaugh.com. So I'm going to put hosts website, please join my list. So in other words, this is something that a Hangout host can actually use to create a call to action. And as you see, I'm actually adding this link live during the broadcast. How cool is that? Yeslaugh.com. Let's see. Let's see if it works. Hey, it does work. And so I would like to ask my audience of viewers, if you would scroll up and down on your page, you might now look underneath the event description. You'll see in red letters, host website. Just take a moment and click. Would you click open and see what happens? Just like I'm doing now. It will open a new tab, and guess what? It did not work correctly this time, but it did once yesterday. So that's something that we'll be playing with a little bit more, and at this point I'm going to stop sharing so we can have some other participation from my panelists.
Elaine, you asked a question before. What people are watching, what they're using. We have laptop, Chromebook, PC, iMac. Somebody's on here using Firefox, and Ronnie Bincer just joined us also.
Hey, so hi Ronnie, that's great. Excuse me. I would like to share that on Monday afternoon, Melanie Hall was hosting her Monday afternoon practice hangout show, and she was doing it within the Crowdcast wrapper, and I was taking my son to the airport. I had my new iPhone all plugged in, and before we got on the road, I said, Carl, I just have to see how Crowdcast works on my new mobile device, my new iPhone. And I was just amazed. I could tap in, I could add comments, I could add questions, I could, have different parts of the Crowdcast environment show up for me, including the video screen. And I thought, this is so different than on Google Plus, having to have my friends who want to catch it mobile just watch it from YouTube and not be able to experience the engagement factor. So I am so happy that Cy has configured this to work well in mobile. And Molly, could you share some comments with us about the importance of mobile functionality? Are you there? Molly might not be there, or her signal may be down. But Virginia, can you share with me what you're gleaning about being able to reach your audience more by having mobile capability?
Yeah, it seems to me that the whole world is going mobile, and one of the things that we do in a standard broadcast is to put up the mobile link for people, which is just YouTube link, but it's an extra step as a broadcaster to put that YouTube link in, both in the comments section and in the description. And so it looks to me like this is going to be perfect for people who are mobile users, because all they have to do is log in and you're already on a mobile device, and it's working perfectly. So anything you can do to make it easier for your viewers, I'm all for. We may all be mobile within 2 years, right? Yeah, but.
So now here as the Hangout and Crowdcast host, I have within my environment that I'm working as the host, I have a white panel where Crowdcast is up, and depending on what little buttons I push, I can be looking at, as Ron has been helping me with, I can actually view the different comments made by the Crowdcast audience. So actually, Lynn Sanders is the last one to make a comment. Hey there, Lynn. She says, are we supposed to create an event on Crowdcast now? Lynn, absolutely not. We may go through the steps later on in this show, but that's not something I want you to do now. I would like to say hi to Zara Altair. I see that she is here. Hey, Zara. I see that Virginia Parsons has actually been adding comments as a panelist back into the Crowdcast comment stream during the show. That's great. I see that I think this is Skip Bieber. He says he's using WaterFox 64 on top of a laptop and MiFi. I don't know what a MiFi is, but hey, sounds like fun. And I see the other folks who are here. Oh, Ronnie Binser says he is on a Mac desktop. So indeed, having a laptop or desktop, or even a Chromebook is a great way to experience full functionality of the Crowdcast environment here. But indeed, some of you, I hope you will try to watch this replay on your mobile device and see what it is like. Make some comments, ask some questions. Molly is back. Molly, talk to us a little bit more about the importance of having a website and webcast with mobile functionality.
Yeah, so in the last couple of weeks, there have been a couple of events that Google has sponsored, one in the Google Small Business community and one in the Google Partners community on how important mobile is. They actually did a study last year based on mobile usage, and they stated it doubled, meaning people are now going to mobile versus going to a desktop or a laptop or a other device to actually access to get online. And I think that's one of the really important things about having a responsive website is that it is mobile friendly. And what I really like about the Crowdcast feature is it's already responsive, meaning it's already very easy to join an event on your mobile device. It's one of those things that I know personally I've been monitoring mobile usage and just trying to take in the numbers and statistics of what people are doing in regards to using a mobile device. And one of the things I wanted to quickly mention about this particular platform is it is very friendly in the respect that you're able to share this across multiple platforms. In fact, while you were speaking earlier, I actually went on and shared this event on my Facebook account and my Twitter account. And so I think that's one of the, oh, I see Sai, I actually asked Sai, who's the lead developer with Crowdcast, he actually just opened up an email that I sent to him yesterday. But it's one of those things that I think that this particular platform addresses some of the concerns that Hangouts has had in the past in regards to Comment Tracker and the Q&A app. And you know, it being, I've actually hung out before using Hangouts on my mobile device, and I found it was okay. I mean, it worked, but it wasn't one of those things, it wasn't a seamless type of event. I had issues when it came to running Hangouts on my mobile device, so I think that this platform addresses that fact. And one of the other things is I was looking at some of the questions that some of the audience members have asked, and I just quickly wanted to answer a couple of them.
Oh, so Molly, so just a moment. When you tell me what it is, then I'm going to click Start Answering so that we can timestamp that. That's one of the amazing features that this application has. The host can see in her panel, as I'm looking at now, the questions that have been asked, and she can select when to answer them. When she pushes the button that says Start Answering, it creates a timestamp. So for those people who want to go back and watch something on replay for any of the topics that have been timestamped in this way by something that the host has created or by the host selection of the answers, those are indicated, and somebody can click on right on that in the replay, and the video, it will automatically jump right to that place in the video where that question is being answered. How cool is that? Ha ha ha. Okay,
Elaine,
so which, yes, Ron?
Ronnie Bincher asked a question. He says, Elaine, can you choose to answer one of the questions so we can see if they show on the screen?
Ah, okay. So I'm going to ask Molly to select the question for me.
Sure. So
and then I'll hit Start Answering.
Sure. So one of the questions I saw was from Elaine. She asked if you can embed a Crowdcast event onto a website, and yes, you can. In fact, if you are logged into your Hangout and you've got the Crowdcast app activated, you can click on Q&A, and then from there, on the very right-hand side, there's a little arrow up button. And when you click on that, it gives you the option to share your link to the event. You also have the ability to share it to your Twitter account, and you also have the ability to share it to your Facebook account. And right there is the embed code. It's right there front and center to where all you have to do is copy and paste that embed code, go to your web page or your blog, and it is available for blogs and web pages. Copy and paste it, go into your HTML editor or WordPress or whatever content management system you might be using, and you just simply copy and paste. So it's as simple as that.
So Molly, while you were speaking, I went in, I hit Eileen's question, and I hit the button that said Start Answering, and what I noticed was the question did come up on me, and so briefly I white boxed myself, and I would like to ask the audience, in the last 2 minutes while Molly was speaking, did you notice when I white boxed myself and came up on the screen, the question did show up for you, correct? If you would provide some of those answers in the comment stream, we would appreciate to know whether you saw that or not. And I'm now going to go down to Ronnie Bintzer's question in the same way. Elaine, can you choose to answer one of the questions so we can see if they show on the screen? This is kind of like Comment Tracker, being able to pin an event. So let's see. Start answering. There it goes. It is showing up now. So apparently now live, Sai has added this feature to Crowdcast so that we can have the questions answered. I also see that it automatically stayed on the screen for maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I wasn't timing it. He would likely know what that is. But that's excellent. And now I'm going to hit the button that says I'm done answering this question. All right, let's see what other questions we have.
Elaine,
Yes.
Earlier Ronnie Bintzer made a statement. He said, here is a graphic link to what I see when I try using your custom link. So when you go back over the broadcast, you can pick that up and check it out.
Yeah, I did. I was able to see that it was not fully functional. When I played with this feature last night, I think I tried it twice, and the second time I tried it, the link actually stuck, so to speak. So I might try that one more time during this event. At this moment, I would like to ask Scott. Scott, can you see the questions of the folks? From within the panel, at the top of your panel, there's both the comment, little red double bubble comment thing, and then if you click that on or off, you can toggle between seeing the comments of the viewers and the questions. Can you see the questions, Scott?
I can, and let me just click this here. I might even be able to screen share that. So this is this what you mean? So here's the red button, and I can go back and forth there, and then the questions would be underneath. So
it's
that's
so
what I'm
funny.
seeing on my second screen.
It's backwards. That's really funny.
Okay. I wonder if I can fix that quickly, and I won't spend a lot of our time doing it, but no, I won't even try and fix it now. But that's something to look forward to.
Anyway, I'm going to scroll through these questions again. David Leopold has asked a question. This is kind of fun. Will Scott Scowcroft have different branding on Crowdcast? So, why don't you answer that, Scott?
Well, I saw the question before, and you know, the interesting thing is I saw it because I've tuned in to this Crowdcast on my mobile phone as well, and I find it a lot easier to go ahead and see the comments that people are making and the questions on the mobile phone than to try and mess around with, you know, the keyboard and the mouse and those sorts of things. So I saw David, and thank you, David. I don't know. I was going to ask you, what do you think?
So perhaps David will respond to us in the comments arena. So that's great. Let me ask Virginia. Virginia, how is your experience of looking at the Crowdcast panel as a Hangout panelist? How are you finding that today? Have you toggled back and forth between the comments and the questions? Have you played with that a little bit?
Yeah, I have so many windows open. I'm glad I'm still with everybody. I am back and forth between Comment Tracker, which is you need to know, it's nobody's there. Everyone's in Crowdcast, so I want to applaud all of you for coming into Crowdcast. That's terrific. I'm able to go into the Crowdcast tab itself, plus I have the Crowdcast app turned on. So within the Hangout itself, I can see the Crowdcast comments. I can comment either place, within Crowdcast itself or within the Crowdcast app within the Hangout. So it's very easy to move back and forth. And so far, I'm still with you. I haven't crashed.
And so I want to take a moment now, once again, following up to what Virginia just said. I have not used Hangout effects in quite a long time on a Hangout. You know, sometimes the Hangout host is so busy keeping track of so many things. It's like to have another app open and use it at the right time. It's a little bit tricky to do. But once again, we are applauding all of the folks who came over, first heard about this event from Google event notifications, and then signed up, coming over to Crowdcast, signing in through Facebook, Twitter, or probably Google+, and now you are here once again.
Elaine, we do have a comment on the question showing up on the screen from Andrew Hatchett. He says, I would suggest that the question stay on screen until the host clicks the stop answering thingy. And Ronnie Bencher agreed with that. That's what he'd like to see also. And also, I don't know if it was Ronnie or somebody else mentioned with the conflict with the question interfering with the lower, the film strip or the lower third.
So once again,
it's something.
This is a helpful, engaging app in developmental process, and it is so wonderful that we have so many people from, especially from the Google Plus Hangout family and Google Plus Arena, who are really helping the developer Hossain spearhead growing this product to expand its functionality, get the feedback. That's really what's needed, this engagement, which helps people, which helps a developer, an entrepreneur. That feedback is really needed to serve the customers, make things a great experience for all the users in all the different ways. Molly, give me some thoughts, reflections on our day so far.
Yeah, so I think one of the key points you just touched upon is the developers that are coming up with this type of technology and making it easy for users to use the Hangout platform. That's one of the really neat things I like about being developers, because we can actually take real-world problems and solve them. I know developers tend to think a little bit differently than the main public, but I think when you can make that connection with a group of developers, when you can say, hey, this is a real problem, this is something we need to solve, what can we do as a developer to come up with solutions to these real-world problems, that's really when you can make a connection and benefit from that connection. I know I've actually been working with Sai on the sideline, if you will, in regards to his website and his marketing and that type of thing. And some of the things that he shared with me about what they're still working on, that it's just amazing. I mean, it really is taking this technology to a totally different level. And with that, I think that some of the things that they've come up with in regards to the functionality of Crowdcast, how it integrates not only with Hangouts on Air, but it does actually integrate with other video platforms. So that right there is a huge usability feature that, this isn't just limited to Hangouts. It's available for other platforms. That's why I refer to this as a wrapper, meaning in the sense that this is not just for Hangouts. This can be applied to different video technologies. And
yeah, Molly, we know that it currently can function with both live stream and Ustream. And obviously, since we know a lot of Hangout hosts and know how to function Hangouts, the majority of the presentations we're doing to give education and insight relates to setup and management of events from within the Hangout platform. Go ahead, Molly.
yeah, but just real quickly, I just think what Sai and his team of developers have done is they've really addressed a series of functionality problems that have been going on with Hangouts. And I'm amazed at what they've done. I think that they've really taken the platform and made it so easy to use, especially for a host who wants to engage with their audience. And that really is what it's about. I'm a big fan of social media marketing. So I think the fact that he's implemented social for this platform, and I might add the search engine optimization benefits of it, meaning Hangouts are indexed. We all know that. But the questions and the comments that happen within the Hangout aren't, except with Crowdcast. With Crowdcast, the questions and the comments are indexed for search engine optimization, and I think that's a huge feature because of the fact that somebody may, like Elaine asked, can you embed this onto my webpage? Well, what if somebody went to Google and they search that? Guess what's going to show up? Her question. Her question and your answer. That's what's going to show up. And that's what I think is so beneficial about this platform is the fact that it does index the questions in the comments. So that's just my take on it.
That is quite amazing. So, Molly or Virginia, you might know the answer to the next question. I'm not sure. But this is a question of Lynn Sanders. So I'm going to put this one up. And it is, can this Crowdcast be shared live? Meaning, within the spaces that people see while they're watching live, is there a share button?
Yes.
Okay, so Molly, are you actually able to screen share so that you might be able to show that? Or maybe I can. I think I'm going to try to do that. Why don't you run commentary for another minute while I see if I can show people where that is.
Sure, I can explain where that is. So say you're logged into the Hangout event and you've got the Crowdcast app activated. So what's going to happen is once you have that Crowdcast app activated, you're going to go over to the right-hand side of the screen and you're going to click on on the very right-hand side, there's a little arrow that's pointed up. And when you click on that arrow, it says find room at, and then the very first thing that's shared is the link to the event. So you literally can go and take and copy and paste the link and share it anywhere. You can share it via email, you can share it on any of the different social platforms you're on. In addition to that, they also have included a share button for Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, and so, Molly, hold on a minute. What I do want to show people is I brought up on screen share, and right here underneath the video player is this share button right here. So for any of you that are watching live now, if you like, you can hit that share button now and see what happens. And I in fact, I can do that. Let's see what happens. Whoop. Nope. This is what I was talking about. This share button. This share button right here underneath the video viewer. Any of the Crowdcast viewers can find this. Click it and see what happens. I am going to... Excuse me, my iPhone was on. I'm going to click this and see how this function works. Okay, it now shows us that it can easily be shared to Twitter or Facebook. So I'm going to go on over to Facebook and share the event. Let's see what happens. Here we go. On my own timeline. This event is live now. come learn about this amazing webcasting environment. It's a fun way to engage with pre-broadcast, live, and replay webcast events. Share link. Okay, I did it. Now apparently Cy is going to be adding the Google Plus link here, but it's with this same embed code. Apparently you can use this feature to embed it on a website. So how cool is that? I'm now going to stop sharing and come on back to, there we go. I see myself. Okay, Molly, I guess we were able to demonstrate that.
Yes.
Not too bad.
Yes.
And I'm now done answering, so I'm going to click the button here on my Crowdcast panel within Hangouts to show that I'm done answering. So that segment will now be time-stamped. So thank you, Lynn Sanders, for asking that question. I'm going to jump on over to Scott, and if you would add some commentary about whatever while I continue looking at some of the other questions that are here. Thank you.
Elaine, yeah, I froze up. I had to go out and get back in, and now I can't see the question, so somebody else will have to check on that till I see what's going on here.
Okay, so Scott.
Well, I've got some commentary. I've just been so amazed by how functional this entire Crowdcast looks on my smartphone. It just is amazing, all of the various different features that it has. So I've got other comments as well, but I thought that that was one. And it was because it was on my calendar. So I went to my calendar, and then there was a join link that was very easy to find, and just going from there. So, and I've also been able to go on the smartphone and check out some of the comments or the questions, and then that keeps everything else kind of clear and clean in terms of the PC and not having too many windows open on my laptop in front of me. So this is just really cool.
Great. So what I'm hearing you say, Scott, is if you are a Hangout panelist and you have a mobile device, an easier way for you to provide assistance to the Hangout host, to the Crowdcast host, is use your mobile device and toggle back and forth between questions or comments, polls,
Sure.
whatever, and then assist in that way.
Well, it's the latest shiny new thing, so maybe the novelty will wear off and it'll just become part of the landscape pretty soon.
So I just noticed another question here, which I'm going to bring on up. And Molly posed the question, but it's something useful for us to talk about. And while Molly talks about it a little bit, I'm going to set up another screen share to show a event by Melanie Hall. So here it is. How many sessions can you have within an event? And the answer is it is unlimited. So Molly, I'm going to white box you so you can address this, and then I'm going to set up the screen share so we can show what Melanie Hall has done.
Yeah, so I actually was asked this question by Rain Dow yesterday. She instant messaged me on Hangouts and had a question, you know, how many sessions can you do? I kind of had an idea that it was unlimited, but I wanted to make sure 100% that it was. And so I actually pinged Cy, and he answered it's unlimited, meaning you can have unlimited sessions going on within an event. And I think that right there is something that is just phenomenal, because that's something that really Hangouts on Air right now, it's, I won't say it's limited, but it doesn't have that feature. And when you can take an event and have unlimited different sub-events, if you will, or sub-subjects going on, like let's say you're talking about a subject like search engine optimization. Well, there's a lot to talk about with search engine optimization. You have, inbound links, outbound links, canonical row links. You have metadata. You have indexing. I mean, there's just so many different sub-subjects that happen with search engine optimization. And so literally, if you create an event like search engine optimization, you can create these sub-sessions that addresses all of these different sub-subjects. So for me, that's one of the things that I thought was really interesting about the sessions and using it within Crowdcast is that it does have the ability to go in and create these sub-subjects, if you will, in regards to whatever you're talking about, whether it's a legal matter or if it's technology or if it's cooking or whatever the subject happens to be about. You can actually go in and add to the original subject. So.
Okay, so now I am going to white box myself so I can do a demonstration and show how Melanie Hall did this. So Melanie Hall had her Lights Camera HOA event on Monday, and she set it up as a Crowdcast event. And then what she decided to do was create additional Crowdcast events linked to one show. So here's one right here. What? Hold on, I have to pause her. So what you can see here is someone registered, well, like I registered for her original event, which was right here. If you look up, you'll see these multiple dots. And apparently, Melanie has set up for each of her Monday Lights Camera HOA, she set up an event for each one of those. So if a person registers simply once for one of Melanie Hall's Lights Camera HOA, all they have to do each Monday is come back here, or they can watch it live or replay. They're all grouped together. How cool is that? And in fact, I think she even also put in like a trailer, which was like an intro to Lights Camera HOA, and that's the one I have up here too. So there is such creative use for this. If I decide I want to do the Holy Shift Show and maybe have a month with a special topic, I could create a group like this of Crowdcast events. And a person only has to register once, and then they have access to all of them. And once again, when if you have registered with Crowdcast and go into www.crowdcast.io and hit enter, and then you come to a place where you sign in. So I have mostly attended my events via Google+. When I go here into this little hamburger, Roland Takaoka calls it the hamburger, I can look at my events once again. And here's Melanie's event right here. Here are some of the other ones that I have watched, and how cool is that? What I did notice, though, remember a few minutes ago, I created my share on Facebook. That had me signing into Crowdcast via Facebook for the first time. And when I went into Crowdcast.io and I sign, and you'll watch me, I'm going to sign in. It has me defaulted signing in through Google+, but apparently there is a way to sign in through Facebook, or Google Plus. And in Facebook, I did not have any events listed because I hadn't registered for them through Facebook. So none of these that are showing up in my registry through Google Plus showed up in my Facebook.
Elaine,
Do you
Rob,
catch my drift about that?
Rob and Holland, I think, got in through Facebook.
Okay. All right. Let me bring this back in. Hold on. I want to get out of my screen share mode. I'm out of my screen share mode. Yay! If I had my Google Plus effects up, I would be clapping for myself right now. Okay. So Ron, if you would update us on other comments in the comment stream.
Yeah, the people who are the techies in the crowd, like Ronnie Binzer, have questions. He'd like to know the link to use for mobile. See, I see that we can edit our questions in the Q&T. Everybody seems to be experimenting with clicking on different things and learning about it, and that should probably bring up more questions.
Okay, so interestingly, during this event, we may not be able to address all the comments or all the questions. And so it behooves the host to go in afterwards and, make pertinent comments to show the viewers that engagement post-show is still important. And everybody will understand that sometimes, all the questions, can't be answered. And as Hangout hosts or live stream hosts or Ustream hosts gain facility using this technology, we'll get a little bit more, effective in being responsive in our engagement with our audience. So let's see. Ronnie has asked, how do we add a trailer video to a Crowdcast future event? Well, I had a little bit of experience yesterday with Virginia Parsons, who, by the way, had to leave this Hangout. She had another event she had to attend, but I want to thank her that she was able to join us. We were playing around with setup. And so I, once again, am going to attempt to go into screen share mode to set up a new event and talk and see how we could add a trailer. I will try to show you how we will do that. Okay. So if I was going to set up a new event, I would go to New Event over here, click it on Open. I'd name the event. I'll call this one Event Hello Ronnie Pincer. And this is a test to embed a trailer for a Crowdcast event. And we'll set this up as a later event. I will set it up for, and I'm not going to actually make and keep this, but I'm going to set this up for the 9th at 1:13 p.m. and I'm going to make it public, and I am going to require registrations, and yes, I'm going to enable sending email reminders. So it's then going to create the event, and now when we go in here under here is how we can edit the event. We go to these three dots. Here you can see, here's the title to the event. I made the description very short. it shows the time of the event. This is the URL, which anybody would grab and share that they wanted to, and you can see it also down here in bold letters. And there is a way to customize the URL, but we'll talk about that on another time. So once again, what I want to do to put a trailer up in place is to click this over here. And before I do that, I am going to go over, and here I'm going to grab a YouTube URL. This is actually the YouTube URL to this event. It's the only one I have handy, so it's what I'm going to use for this. Hold on. I may have lost my new event. All right, we're going to do this again. I'm just going to call this Ronnie's. I'm going to call this add a trailer test. I'm going to do this later, once again for tomorrow. It's going to be public. Oh, by the way, while we're here, I'm going to show you visibility. Look at this. Sometimes when you run over these little words, a mouse over, something will pop up, and this says, unlisted events are only accessible via URL. The Hangout on Air is still public, however. To create a private Hangout on Air, and by private they only mean unlisted, they're not truly private, you have to follow the instructions under the Import Hangout button. We're going to go there in just a minute. Okay, now we're going to create this event. Oh, fail. Wait a minute. Well, here we go. Event hello, Ronnie Bincer. Let's see. Here we go. So if I want to add a trailer to show in the video portion before the live broadcast starts, I can go into Import Hangout, hit that, and up here I'm going to put in my YouTube link. And there are other instructions here. I'm not going to go through all of those right now, but there is a demo here that talks about pasting in a YouTube link, and it could be a trailer. This is now going to show save. Now, I am not going to, if somebody went into this later, they would see the video playing. Right now, the reason I can't fully demonstrate it is the link I've put in is actually this live YouTube event. So that wasn't a good choice on my part. But I hope some people may have gotten a little bit of an idea about the steps that it would take to add a trailer. And the trailer would show up right in this screen, like where you're watching me right now. The Hangout host would have to, just minutes before the live event starts, swap that video out with the URL for the for the Hangout. And for those of you who are experienced Hangout hosts, you would either have a show a scheduled Hangout on Air URL or a live YouTube event URL, depending on where you set that up. But that's what you need to set up to have a URL, which you will then embed. I hope folks can follow that. Kinda.
Elaine,
Kinda.
Ronnie Bincer said, when you add the trailer via the method you showed, how do you think we shift over to the live show when it happens?
Yeah. Oh. And
And the other cool thing is
Hold,
Max
hold
is
on a
here from
minute.
Twitter. So
Okay, so Ronnie answered another. Ronnie's actually being very helpful for me. You know, he's giving me this opportunity to get a little bit more facility with starting to answer questions. And as a Hangout host, if you want to do the time stamping properly, excuse me, you actually have to, at the end of answering the question, go back and hit the button that says done answering. Okay, so now he asked me this other question. Let's see if I can read it. Good question. I'm a little lost. You know what?
are you looking for the one that says sorry, but the trailer technique sounds like it may not be quite right? That,
No. In
no,
fact,
okay.
you know what? I am getting scrambled eggs brain as a Hangout host right now. And I'm just being completely honest. I have to practice with this more. Oh, this is what's called an example of transparency. And it's why we love Hangouts so much. You know, we're real. And especially when we're exploring new technology, we're not all perfect. You know, we're playing around. We're playing around through it, and you often hear me say, I am all about finding creative solutions through play, and, you know, it's fun when we play together. Molly, I'm going to jump on over to you because I need to give my scrambled eggs brains a rest.
Sure. So I think one of the benefits of this Crowdcast feature is the advanced audience analytics. And what I'm referring to is I'm a big fan of Google Analytics, and with that, we are able to actually see website activity. Well, with the analytics that Sai has installed with Crowdcast, we can actually analyze the data from our audience, meaning, you know, what percentage of gender is attended, where are they located, what type of questions are they asking, what type of feedback is going on. And I think when a Hangout provider can have insights like that, we're really able to take that data and use it to apply to future shows. And that's actually one of the questions I had the awesome opportunity to ask my manager at the Googleplex asked us in our community. They're getting ready to do another webinar for Google Analytics, and he asked, you know, hey, do you have a question for Justin Catrone? He's the product manager for Google Analytics, and that was actually one of the questions I asked. I asked, well, does Google Analytics have the ability to track the data of Hangouts? You know, because right now, as far as I know, the answer is no. And what I'm thinking is if this platform has the opportunity to actually track that data, why isn't Google Analytics doing that? That's something that I think is important, because as a Hangout provider, we really do want to know the insights of, well, what's going on with our audience? What's the makeup of our audience? And one of the really neat things that Sai mentioned in one of our previous Hangouts is, let's say that you've got a group of people from California, and you want to send just a message to those people in California. Maybe there's something going on. You can actually take and send a message just to the people in California. So I think something like that, those are some really neat benefits that we're able to use with this particular platform.
Molly, can you answer this couple questions from Robin Holland? One of them is, did my question about can this be used for privately registered webinars get answered?
I don't think anybody's answered that. It can be. The event with Crowdcast is kind of like Hangouts. You can make it public or you can make it private. So it really depends on, you know, what the Hangout provider wants to do. But yes, you can publicize the event either publicly or privately.
She has another question. I don't know if you want to answer it or answer it afterwards privately. She said, did my first question about Webinar Jam comparison get answered? And you might want to answer that after the event. I don't know.
Right. With Webinar Jam, it's a different video platform. So to my knowledge, it should be able to be integrated. When I talked with Sai a few days ago, he said really most of the video technologies are set up the same, and that's why this particular application is able to wrap around those video technologies. So just initially, I'm going to say yes, it is. I haven't tested it though, so that might be an interesting experiment to test out.
Okay.
Ronnie had a statement here, a comment that I think you and Elaine, you and Virginia came across yesterday. He's saying still in development mode, so realize that the unlisted is still a public broadcast.
I can advise that I'm actually working with Hossain in regards to his marketing, and right now they're about a month away from finalizing all the different things that they had originally planned for Crowdcast. I think one of the really neat things is the fact that we're able to take the comments or questions and throw them up on the screen, because I know in events past we weren't really able to do that. In fact, some of the events I have participated in, people would actually take an index card and they would write out whatever their question or whatever their statistic was. And so I think that particular feature is very beneficial because it basically has eliminated people having to use flashcards anymore.
There's another question you might be able to answer, Molly. Are you using all the usual Hangout apps via Crowdcast, including pinning?
You can, if you're watching your Hangout from Hangouts, you can actually use all the different, the screen share, the comments, the Q&A, if they've enabled it, the toolbox, all that stuff. You can actually still use all that. There is actually an app if you are watching via Hangouts. You can go search for it, but there's a Crowdcast app that what happens is if you're watching via Hangouts and you enable the app in the right-hand side, it'll open up a sub-panel, kind of like with chat, but it'll display the polls, Q&A, comments, questions, all the different features that you would be able to access from a Crowdcast event actually show up within Hangouts.
Okay, so folks, what I would like to do is it's not going to be an expert demo, but it's going to be an attempt at a demo. Someone was asking about, setting up an unlisted event, and Virginia Parsons and I found out what we could do. So I'm going to run through setting up and this is of interest to Hangout hosts. I'm going to set up a live YouTube event on my channel. Okay? So I have gone into my YouTube channel. I'm going to go into Video Manager. And under Video Manager, I can click Live Events. Okay? I'm going to go over here to the right-hand side to create a new live event. I'm going to title it an unlisted Crowdcast event. And before I did this, I actually was setting something up for like August 8th at, it was 2 p.m. or something like that. So if you want to make something truly unlisted, you can't set it up with the other Crowdcast set up your show button. You have to set up a YouTube live event like this, make it unlisted. See over here? And then create the event. We're going to create the event. I'm now going to scroll down and grab the URL from here. Let's see. I'm going to capture the link address. And now I'm going to go in here I'm back to my setup arena. I'm going to go into Import Hangout, and I'm going to take this unlisted live YouTube event that I've set up for the future in August. I'm going to paste it in and save. Okay? So, for example, then when this airs, it will not be showing up as a live event on Google+. It will, it will have limited access. Only people who know that have been, gotten invitations to the event, will be able to participate. At least that's what I'm gleaning of how it works. Does that make sense to you, Molly? Does that make sense to you, Scott?
Well, I have a question, and that is, will there still be an event page, and on that event, and would people be able to click yes, maybe, or no, and would there be an automatic posting of that from the event page onto one's Google Calendar? Doing it this way.
What I have done for today's event, I created a Google Plus event frame. I went over to YouTube. I created a YouTube live event, public. I saved that URL, and then when I was setting up the Crowdcast portion, I took that URL and put that in that import box. I created a banner for my Google Plus event, and then in my description, I said, please register for the Crowdcast event here. And then, like last night, just to play around, I made a quick trailer for anybody who was showing up on the Google Plus event page announcing this Crowdcast Hangout. I made a little video saying, hey, you actually have to go sign up at Crowdcast. And then once the show began, Virginia gave me a little ping and she said, oh, you don't have the live event up on the Google Plus event page. So I went back in and then I took in I swapped out the trailer for the YouTube URL. But once again, anybody watching from that place is not experiencing the Crowdcast environment.
Something that Andrew Hatchett had suggested earlier, and I thought it was perhaps a really great idea, is to disable comments. Maybe to make a comment saying, to really get the most out of this, go to this URL, which would be the Crowdcast, and then to disable comments on the event page so that people would be more inclined to come over and watch it in this environment.
Yeah, that is a great idea from Andrew. And once again, because Crowdcast is so new, but because most people who are following me, they're watching the Holy Shift Show, they're watching some of the things that I'm on, they typically get those notices in Google Plus notifications. And so this is a period of education. I may in the future not be doing all this double notification business. I may simply be sending Google Plus posts. It could be that I can even create collections of my Crowdcast events and put them up that way. I mean, I haven't looked into collections very much, and I don't want to scramble everybody else's brains, but there's a lot that we're finding we can do with this incredible new tool. We are almost, in fact, we are at an hour and a half into this program, so I would like Ron to go back into the comments and see if we have any final comments by folks. we've kind of gone all over the map in what we've covered today in our experiments section. What do some of the folks have to say, Ron?
Well, Ronnie here has a comment. He's the last one to post a comment here. Unless you build your own separate enlisted HOA on your own, the enlisted options within Crowdcast are still public. It goes back to a question that Robin has asked and Zara has asked, and Molly's been answering it. But I think those are questions and still stuff that's in the development stage. From what I see in the comments as the hour and a half went on, people were experimenting, clicking on buttons, which is good. And we had people come in from Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus the regular invitation from Crowdcast. And I think what went on here today was excellent. People seem to enjoy it, and they got a new insight as to what's going on. And I think there's just, the more we use it, the more it's going to enhance what we're doing. And I'm sure Sai, with the help of Molly and the other developers, are going to get a great wrapper that to be used with Hangouts on air. Thank you, Elaine, for having me.
Yeah, Ron, you've been quite an excellent addition to our panel. I have really valued your help. And you were the guy that did my first Crowdcast experiment with another person. That was great fun, and we will be having you back to assist us. I really appreciate your help. Pardon me. Let me ask Scott. Scott, do you have any final words or reflections on this hour of play and experimentation with Crowdcast?
I do, and I think my observation is that there are those of us who really love Google Plus and Hangouts, Hangouts on Air. We're real evangelists for it and think that it's great. So by no means do we want to leave the technology or the platform. But it seems to be limited. It does, people, there has not been that tipping point. There hasn't been that gold rush of, the world coming in and finding the love that we've all shared together. So it might be that Crowdcast is a way not to leave Google Plus Hangouts on Air, but rather to expand beyond the G Plus platform and to be able to bring in the rest of the world under this umbrella. So that's my current hypothesis that I'm thinking about, and would be interested to read in the comment stream what other people think as well.
I think you've got a great word there. It's all about expanding the reach of Hangouts for folks that have gained some facility with the Hangout platform, to be able to reach new audiences via Facebook and Twitter. That will be powerful. And it may be, a couple more weeks or a couple more months as Hangout hosts get really familiar and capable using this new interface, that they're actually inviting a lot more people over from Facebook and Twitter, because we want to look good. For people who are seeing us the first time, we don't want to look like we're mucking it up. Over here in Google Plus, among our regular viewers, they kind of know how transparent we can be. But as we're reaching out, we want to have our act together a little bit more practice. Sounds like a good idea. Let me jump on over now to Molly Youngblood Geiger. Molly, I have really valued your very interesting role in the emergence of this whole thing. What a ride we're going to be taking together, eh?
Absolutely. That's one of the things. I am constantly researching new technology. I do it every day, and the reason I do is because I want to bring my clients the ultimate experience. And one of the things, final thoughts I'd like to add is I've actually suggested to Sai that he use the LinkedIn platform as well, because although I think it's great that he's got Twitter and Facebook, I think LinkedIn is another social media platform that needs to have the benefits of this, because we all know LinkedIn's more of a business type platform, resumes and headhunters and all that type of thing. But I think at the same time, I've heard of actually a lot of people using video for resumes or using video for a job interview. So why not, why not include that platform as well? And I've always said, this is going back a year, that social media, I conducted an experiment on myself a year ago, and one of the observations that I've noticed about social media is it is clunky in the sense that you have to go over here to Facebook, you have to go over here to Twitter, you have to go over here to Google Plus. And what I really like about this platform is it takes all of those social networks and puts them all together, and has SEO benefits and has video sharing capabilities. And for me, that is just, it's just the bee's knees. I think it's just a great platform.
So Molly, while the screen is still on you, I've been attempting to see if I can show some of the event analytics. Oh, I have the wrong event. Ha ha ha. Let's see if I can bring up some event analytics for this event. Hold on. We're going to try. Let's see. I have to go in here, event analytics. Okay. So this is interesting. Let me white box myself here. All right. Hold on, folks. So I move this over. So it has 43 people who have actually come on into this event. Wow, it jumped way on up from when we started. I think there were 20 to 25 when we started. So we've gained a whole lot more people that have registered in the last couple of hours. We can see that there are 51% males registered, 37% females, 7% came in through Facebook, 7% through Twitter, and the rest through through Google Plus. We have big tweeters identified. So I want to give a shout out to Gina Bell and Richard O, the Talk to Me guy. How outstanding is this?
Very
and
cool.
We can see our registrants for this event. We've got Milan. I think we have Nazim Beltran and maybe someone else there. And, oh, these apparently are showing the locations. Lowenstein in Italy, Newquay, and then we have folks all over the U.S., some in Canada, and apparently here in Beaverton and in the Pacific Northwest, it's a hot spot here. Wow. Oh, and I see now, I can zoom this in. Wow, these are things I'm playing with for the first time. So, folks, are you getting excited about this with me? Man, I am getting so excited. I can make it even bigger. Let's see if I can go in. Oh, where did it go? Up. I jumped away. Well, I'm going to stop sharing. But I hope in that little bit of event time we had a little more fun seeing the analytics. And with that, I am going to say thank you to all my friends on Google Plus who have come by to explore these Crowdcast experiment sessions with us today. Thank you to the 47 people who came on over to register at Crowdcast. You can enjoy this event as replay. Just go back to the same link. That's why this arena is so wonderful. One place for registration, one place for pre-event engagement, one place for live participation, one place for post-event engagement and replay. How cool is that? I would like to say thank you once again to Hossain for having the gumption and the creativity and the focus to get this off the ground, for the guts and the gumption to somehow get, what's it called, Molly, when somebody is able, an API, to get a Google API so this great tool can be used directly within Hangouts. And I will end up, my day has been quite topsy-turvy, with husbands being ill and mom being not so well and lots to do here. But please remember, as you're approaching new technology, breathe deeply often, smile, and decide to laugh your way through learning new technologies or getting through the challenges of any day. It's a good thing to do, to laugh, to smile, and keep on going to make our connections with each other real and valuable. I'm going to sign out now. This is Elaine Nieberding, your Hangout host, and be on the lookout for more Crowdcast experiment sessions. Take care, everybody.